Put the damn pocket cleaner down and let's go.
Okay, we're live. According to this, we're live. Where in the hell is my chat box gone? There it is. Okay, welcome live from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. We'll answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslife, as I see it, at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page and you want to do a one-time payment, I got that PayPal stuff down there too. So all my links are all down below on YouTube there, down there in the info section. So just wanted to mention that. And so I got that out of the way. I just want to say who we got in the chat. First in was Kingpin. I don't know what happened to him. He hasn't shown up in the chat room here yet on my panel. Then we got Jason Stewart, Two Gun Kitty. Who else we got in here? Black Cat Outdoors. So people are starting to trickle in. Rich White's here. So let me introduce my panel I've got so far. I've got good old Tony from Illinois. How you doing, Tony?
Hello. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for the invite.
I'm doing good. Then we got the man from New York, New York Outcast. How you doing?
Doing good. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's well today.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Real quick, I've been Two Gun Kitty starting reloading, and he's just done his first. Hang on, what do you say here? He just done his first. What you call it? Brass clean. Ran through his first load of casings through his cleaner. Using dry cleaning. Now, I noticed. Also, with the dry. I found that what I use, which is a hell of a lot cheaper, if you go to one of those, Midway or Brownells or one of those and order the dry cleaner, you pay a high price for it. Just go to your pet store and buy Lizard bedding. Lizard bedding. Exactly the same thing. It's crushed walnut shells. Exactly that. It's the same thing, and it's where you're paying $20 for a bag, you're only paying $5 for it in the pet store. So
I'll give you a tip too. Run a dry media. Put a fabric softener sheet in your tumbler.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention that. Yes. I don't know exactly what it does, but it helps.
That pet store idea is genius.
That's the static out, I believe.
It helps to keep the dust down, and it polishes the brass somehow.
Yeah. All right, Kingpin has now joined us from Maryland. How you doing?
Hey, David.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Good to see you guys today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was just giving some tips there to Two Gun Kitty on it. He's taking up reloading. Now that's what I'm going to do when my stimulus check gets here. I wasn't part of the 80 million that got one. So, but I did, where it tells you to go to that government website and check on where's my check, and you type in your social and your zip code and your name, I think. Well, I can't remember what it says. And you hit it. Well, I've been trying since Wednesday, and it keeps saying my information is unavailable. I'm thinking, no. I said, the bastards are going to screw me. But today when I went to do it, it's got on the info. When you just above the button, it says if your info was done with an SSA 1099, that info has not been loaded into the system yet. So I didn't even bother to try today. Just for you people who are interested on Social Security, ours is coming, but it ain't there yet. I'm hoping it'll be this Wednesday.
You wouldn't have a problem if you pay your damn taxes.
I don't earn enough to pay taxes. Hey, I'm below the poverty line, but I survive. You know. So.
But I get the same SA 1099, but I got mine already because
but your wife file, you and your wife file taxes together. You know. So
well, get your wife and file taxes. Shit.
hey, you know what? I've been divorced longer than I was married now, and that's fine with me. You know. Also, here's a question for everybody on the panel. I know it's got nothing to do with guns, or actually, people out in the chat might be able to answer this one. I know it's got nothing to do with guns or what's going on today, but as I said, I've been divorced longer than I was married. So when I'm filling out all these forms and it asks for your status, I check, it's got single, married, divorced, separated. I check single. Because I said, I've been single longer than I was married. Or by law, do I have to keep checking divorce? Because if you're divorced, like on car insurance, and you say you're divorced, your insurance costs more. The bastards. So I just want to throw that out there in case you didn't know that. So.
I don't know. I would think it might have something to do with, it may be a legal requirement in a sense with certain paperwork, but how long that stipulation would have to follow you would probably be a legal argument in different states for different things, in my opinion. That's different.
If it's government paperwork, then you're falsifying documents, and that's why they didn't have you in the system, because you lied.
Oh, you think so? I don't. But anyway, just something out there that I was just curious about. It's one of those dumb questions I was sitting here thinking about it one day.
So wait a second. You're saying that the government doesn't have the information for you, so that's why they haven't sent you a check yet?
It's not in that app they're using for people who can check where their check's at. They haven't added Social Security information into that app yet.
Well, what you need to do is quickly apply for student loans and all that other kind of stuff, because you've all automatically become an undocumented citizen, Rick. And you know how much the government loves those undocumented citizens.
Yeah, I know. Live in California, they're going to give you $500 for being undocumented. Yeah. So I know that. Hey. But here you go. It's okay to go on a dating site and accept a date from somebody because it's an acceptable risk. Is that what the doctor said, Kingpin, in your video?
Yeah, pretty much. He said, it's a risk, but some people are willing to take more risk than others. So go ahead and bang some rando off the internet.
Yeah, so then it goes to if it's okay to do that, why isn't it okay for us to go about our normal lives? What I want to know.
Because Dr. Fauci's woke.
Oh, okay. All right. As I was having this discussion, was it in the chat room yesterday or the day before? Right? I can understand we went through this before on Wednesday. I can understand certain areas of the country, like the Northeast, not opening up as fast as us down here. My county, as of yesterday, we had 12 cases in this county. And that's it. And it's, from what I can understand, it's up at the upper end of the county, not down the lower end where I'm at. As far as I'm concerned.
It will be.
What?
Open it up and it will be.
Now, bullshit. See, that's where you're wrong. I think they should open if they open, they said if Deb's truck stop was open and she was willing to do it, I would be down there sitting in there eating breakfast, and I wouldn't be worried about catching it.
That's because you're a selfish bastard. We already came up with that answer.
So I'm just saying.
Statistically, in your area, the odds may be, better for you to hit the lotto, possibly, depending where you're located. Other areas, it might be the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Depending where you are. So
But if everybody's sitting
the
here
stipulations
waiting
vary to where your risk is. You know, it's all risk management in a sense. If you got such
It
a
is.
low risk, then there's not really a point to worry in your area yet.
But
until you
everybody's
see something
worrying.
there is a higher risk. And,
You're not.
likewise in another
Is there? Is there? You know what I'm saying is they're doing. I think I'm not saying the virus is not real, and people have died. I'm not disputing that, right? But I don't think the risk is as bad as people are as they're making it out to be. Personally, you know. But hell, who am I? I'm just a old fat white boy sitting here in Indiana. You know.
Well, it certainly seems like everybody's got this as an automatic fucking death sentence. And I don't know where the hell that came from.
Yeah. And a lot of states are protesting now because they're saying the same thing. You know, the restrictions are too high. Nothing's happening. You know, they're not getting sick. And they should. I mean, personally, there's never going to be the perfect scenario to say that's it. The risk is minimal, so we can open up again. That day is never going to come. So the economy of the United States is fucked already. I thought it was on its knees, but reading some stuff and watching stuff, it's gone beyond that. We are flat out on our back. This country's economy is screwed. It's going to take months to get it back, if it ever comes back. So
I've seen it talking to people in my area, Rick, where it seems like people are upset about the lockdown. I think it's more the fact that the timing of it. Again, in my area, we're expected to peak in a week or so if they state. But yeah, we've been locked down for close to a month, so maybe a little more technically. I don't recall anymore. So it seems kind of premature for us to be locked down for all that period. The hardship caused on people when we had literally a handful of cases until, a week or two ago. Now we're in the hundreds, but it's just, it makes, like I said, it's just premature action. Like near the peak, you would see maybe a lockdown similar, not actually a full lockdown, but you would see further restrictions as
I can understand
the likelihood grows.
I mean, what I'm saying is if they open everything up, right, and they realize where you live, there's an increase of people, then your area gets inundated with the people that it needs to contain it, right? But the rest of the state carries on doing that's the only way it's going to work. It's the only way this economy, and that is what Trump is saying. They're keeping an eye on it. If it starts spiking somewhere, they'll do what they got to do to get that area under control. Because we've been doing this now for 2 months, haven't we? Or a month and a half.
Yeah.
And I feel that
got a feeling that'll be Florida pretty soon.
They've learned a lot of stuff that they're not telling us. They've learned a lot of stuff about this disease or virus, whatever you wish to call it. If they can send somebody out to hot spots to contain it, that means it can't be as bad as they're claiming.
Well, we've been on lockdown here since March 15th. So I'm ready for that to end.
The first thing
go on.
The first thing that they have to do is give us legitimate, actual, scientific data. And until they do that, then I think we should all be skeptical of them. And I know Rob just laughed because I know that's not going to happen. They're never going to give us the truth. They're going to, people who get eaten by a tiger are going to be listed as coronavirus deaths. And until they stop doing that, then they're going to have all the justification in the world for shutting places down because, oh no, New Rochelle just had an outbreak and we got to shut New Rochelle down. And then, Peabody, Massachusetts just had an outbreak, so we got to shut it down. Well, look, there's 5 million people that just died when, you know, and I don't know, we need actual legitimate numbers to make this actually legitimate. And until then, it's still going to be the same scam that it's been from the beginning.
Yep. The government taking your rights away one day at a time. And we're letting them.
I hear your area is getting pretty heavy, Kingpin. So from what the news is saying, they put all forces in place to deal with a uprise or civil unrest around DC.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've noticed anything or
DC, Maryland, and Virginia went pretty much 80% Gestapo. The only reason they haven't went completely out of the way is, they can't really justify it. But that goes back to my numbers thing. They never count the Maryland, DC, and Virginia together when they're talking about car accidents or people that die from cancer. But now COVID deaths, when they talk about their region, they're lumping all of Maryland. I'm pretty sure all of Virginia, if not half of the state of Virginia, DC, Baltimore, all together. That's why they're talking about the surge and all this kind of stuff. And right now, the state capitol in Maryland is jam packed full of cars blowing their horn. I mean, it's a pretty small capital, so it didn't take a whole lot to fill it up. But a couple people have called me from down there and said that the place is jam packed with people that are tired of this nonsense. We're not stupid. We know that when they talk about 500 cases, 500 dead people in the region, never before have you lumped Maryland and Virginia together for any reason. Now you're lumping DC and Baltimore together for what?
do you foresee an issue with the public and security presence will state as far as protesting or anything like that in your area? I mean, are the tensions, how's the temperature of the people in your area? You get what I mean?
I mean, the normal people are pretty chilled out and ready to go back to work. And then your real staunch yuppies are completely panicking and want to call the police on people that walk out to the mailbox, without a mask on and stuff like that. But at first, people were really, really scared about Baltimore because they were talking about letting prisoners out. Marilyn Mosby is a Satanist, 100%. Please study her and don't let any type of government official in your state be like her. She is bloodthirsty as can be. And she was talking about letting just emptying the jails. And people were like, wait a second, Baltimore City, the people on the street are bad enough. Now you're going to let all the people that you happen to finally catch and lock up out of jail. So that panicked a lot of people, but they didn't really do that. They did let some people out, but they didn't just open the doors and let them out. And Baltimore and DC have both basically been the same crime level that they were before. So
that's what I was going to ask you. If somebody in Baltimore dies by bullet, is that coronavirus death?
Now, according to Dr. Birx, yes, because she's the one in charge, and she said anybody with coronavirus gets checked as dying from coronavirus. So I would imagine if you got shot and tested positive for corona, or you in your last dying breaths were coughing and sneezing and you had symptoms, then you're going to get marked as a corona death. But I haven't seen any actual reports on that. I'm just going by what the person in charge said.
Yeah, here you go. Two Gun Kitty says, we only had 90 cases hospitalized in New Mexico, and governor treats it like the New York fabricated numbers. Rich White, West Virginia has a total of 16 deaths. 16. This is overblown, and New York is a major reason. They are inflating their death rates. You going to defend that, New York Outcast?
Well, I agree. I think some of the numbers are overdone for sure. I think in some cases there's a lot of this that's undocumented as well. So where it actually sits, I don't know. Overall, I think the reaction's been kind of heavy-handed considering the outcome that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So
now,
it's basically
another thing that gets me, right? I thought it was. I mean, at first I thought, what in the hell was he saying? When Trump said he's got the final word. But then they all got mad and said, no, the governors have the final word. Then the next day he goes, okay. He said the governors have got it. It's their decision to open up. Now like your governor, well, we got the right to open up, but we need the federal money to do it. Fuck's sake, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I think until you separate profit from health, we're going to continue to see issues like this. To my knowledge, the state kicks in more money if it's a COVID case. So most places that are already, near bankruptcy or whatever else are going to try to run it to get more money. So I just, I think that's a major problem across the board with the healthcare. There's a lot of drugs out there that are cheap and affordable natural sources that the average doctor will rather write you a pill for. I don't agree with that type of stuff myself. So
that's another thing that we're tampering with that is very dangerous. We've always known that nurses and doctors were top of the line. We need nurses and doctors. Always say thank you to them, be cool to them, because they have to put up with some really crazy stuff, and they make us healthier. They help save our lives. And we're being told this whole time that these doctors and nurses in these hospitals are bulging with people, and people are falling out the windows, and the elevator shafts stacked with dead bodies. So everybody's, if you're praying people, you're praying for the doctors and nurses, you're making lunch for them, you're buying pizzas, you're donating to the hospitals and all these kinds of things. And then every day we find out that the hospitals aren't overloaded. We find out that there is no shortage of masks. There is no shortage of ventilators. People aren't dying at the rates that we were told. So next time, I don't want the doctors and nurses who deserve to be honored and respected for doing what they do to be ignored because this was fake. And then also a lot of people might get upset with me, but 90% of what a nurse does is absolutely mundane. A nurse isn't a battlefield frontline medic. Some work very hard. Lots of nurses don't do crap all day long. So right now that they're busy, it sucks. It's hard. But, let's actually look at some stuff and be level-headed about some stuff once in a while.
I just want to throw in there. I think a lot of this hero stuff is ridiculous in my opinion. I'm not trying to downgrade anybody or anything, but a firefighter is not a hero for saving a child from a burning building. In my opinion, that's the job he trained for and signed up for. That's a choice he made. Cop's not a hero for surviving a firefight with a guy in a gas station that was trying to rob the place. That's the job he took. Same thing with a nurse or a doctor. That's part of the job. To me, I don't see it as you're doing anything special. You're doing what you're supposed to do. So I think a lot of this is overblown. I've seen things in a nursing home near me where they mark, think the hero's inside. That nursing home, if it wasn't for this right now, they'd probably be getting shut down because all the people that go there die within like 2 weeks and they don't get reported for like a month and a half because they keep taking the people's money after they're dead. Like the place is a joke. My father would chose death before going to a place like that. So I don't understand how to me, some of these places, they're damn criminals in my mind. And yet you drive by and it's signs and balloons calling them heroes. I mean, I don't see it that way personally. That's a job you chose to do. So, shut up and do your job, kind of. But I know it might be cruel in some cases. I don't mean to be that way, but that's just how I see it. Soldier's not a hero for surviving battle. That's the job he chose to do. Now, if you were drafted in force, that may be a little different, but if you chose to do it, you chose to do it.
I agree with you. I'm just reading some of the chat here. Rich White says people have been extremely rude to healthcare workers. My wife has been spat on, and yesterday a guy in PetSmart went off on her, telling her she is putting everyone at risk. The manager banned him. Good for him. Two Gun Kitty says, why donate food to nurses? doctors, police, and Walmart type employees who are making a paycheck. Donate pizzas to families who have lost jobs and get no money got no money coming in. Yeah, that's why I find that strange too. Donating people who are earning money.
One thing on the doctors and nurses and stuff, their workload has increased exponentially, and then they get the possibility of not being able to be with their family. So there's some suffering there.
Yeah. I mean, and also I've noticed the last chart I looked at, most of the deaths that have occurred in the United States, or I think around the world, you're finding they're old people. I mean, I'm old, but I'm talking about people in their 80s and above.
That's why I'm trying to get you off of this hole. I'd go sit at Deb's bit because it's going to fucking kill you.
No, it's not. I take the wonder drug. So. So, if I catch it, that's going to help me. That I've been taking it for almost 4 years now.
Did any of you notice? I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead, bud.
I was going to say, if you catch it, we're going to have a huge fucking party.
Did any of you guys notice at the beginning of the coronavirus coverage that they had the infected numbers, the recovered numbers, and then the death number? And then about a week or two into it, they stopped posting the recovered numbers, and it was just infected and dead.
Yeah. It's very hard to find anybody to tell you who's recovered. But more people recover than are dying for a fact. Otherwise, the United States, half of the population would be dead by now.
The numbers have never once added up. Not once.
No. It doesn't help. It doesn't help when New York is doing a China on us. Where China's decreasing in numbers, New York is taking their hidden numbers and adding it to theirs. So I just think. I just think that. Florida, they opened the beaches today, I believe. And other states are ready to ease restrictions. I say go for it. I say go for it. You're not good.
Florida.
Go on.
Florida just closed the damn beach last week.
They opened them up again today.
Cool.
That's what I read, unless I misread it.
Fuck it. Let's go surf.
I heard the beach like instantly filled up when I heard that people ran down in masses. So I'm quite curious as to how that's going to work out. So, I still think people should be smart about things where they do open things, but
go down the beach. Wear a mask.
There's a novel idea. People being smart. Ha.
As I said, and I've noticed, they've been pushing this, people catch it, get over it, they don't even know they had it. So what I'm saying is, yes, it can kill old people, and it has killed young people, but I think 90% of the people will recover. So open it up, let's get the economy back up and running, because we're going to have high inflation. We're going to have high unemployment. The country is going to take. This could take, years to make up what we've lost here.
They've already shown that they're gumming up the works. They said everybody stay home and we'll send you a bunch of money. Well, a bunch of checks have went out. A bunch of people got their payment money, stimulus, or whatever they call it. But if you're a small business trying to get a loan, or if you're Rick on disability trying to get his money, or you're on if you file for unemployment and you got special status, you're in the lurch. You're waiting. And they're going to brag about the $1,200 checks coming out faster than they thought. but that's still not keeping businesses open. Plus, I mean, you look into the monstrosity, that $2.2 trillion spending bill that they just spent,
Yeah.
and it's a joke, every word of it.
Oh yeah. 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 No. Oh, I know. Oh, hang on. Vanessa Kitty says if it's caseloads at hospitals, what's flattening the curve? You open it up, and many more present at hospitals. Grab a ticket and wait in line. But that's a big if. I mean, if. All right, I'm not going to drive my car today because somebody might hit me. That's an if. You know, I might die today, so I'm going to stay in bed. That's an if. God damn it.
I think
Throw some balls.
Kitty's on to something in a sense. I think a lot of people will, as soon as they get a sniffle, they're going to say, "Oh crap, I got the COVID." They were right, and then they're going to run to the hospital. So, like I said, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it does go better than worse. But,
I
it's
forgot.
just kind of early to curse it or
I forgot.
praise it at this point.
A lot of today's people, I'm saying 40 and under, have no common sense. Like you said, got a sniffle, go run into the emergency room. You know, you got a sniffle, see how it is. I mean, they tell you to call your doctor up and talk to him. And if he's bad, he'll send you to the hospital.
People's friends, family, employers. I mean, the average guy that gets allergies, is going to be looked at like he's got the plague when he's going, back to work or something. So he may get told, you need a note from the doctor saying you're good to go or something. You know what I mean? So there'll be a lot of allergy discrimination and things like that. I can see where, again, it may add a flux to the hospitals. But
the way I look at it, open it up, and like you, New York Outcast, if you want to wear a mask everywhere you go after they open it up, that's your right. You can wear one. I'm not. Or if you want to stay home because you are worried, stay home. I'm not forcing you to go out. I'm just saying, open it up for the people who want to do it, who are willing to chance that if. Let's do it. Let's get back on the road, back on track. That's all I'm saying. Am I wrong?
How do you say it's optional if you want to go to work or not? If your job place is open, you got to go to work or you don't have a job. Whether you fucking want
Why
to.
Why can't they do the same? What they were saying when places were open, like Walmart. Walmart said if you didn't want to come to work, you can stay home. You're not going to get paid, but your job is secure because you want to that. So Walmart said, "Roll back up, everybody, come back." Somebody says, "Well, I really don't feel comfortable coming back." They should be allowed that option too.
If they're allowed that option, then we're not
going
open.
to get paid, but your job's not going to go away.
If they're allowed that option, then we're not open.
What?
If they're allowed that option, then we're not open. You
Yes, we are.
Open it or you don't.
More people will go back to work than stay home. I mean, all I'm seeing is
I think more would go back to work too.
I do too.
Not saying it would be the wisest move, but I think people would weigh their options, and a lot of people would choose finance. I think.
Yeah, I think the most people who would say I'd rather stay home will be the older people. 60 plus who are got a few years to retirement. They might hesitate to come back, and I think by all means do that. So you have a department of 8 people. 2 of them decide not to come back. So that means the workload has to, the share of the workload for those 2 people has to be left for the 6 to do. It sucks, but let's get it done. You know what I'm saying?
If you don't get the economy back open soon, a bunch of the people that are on unemployment aren't going to have jobs to go back to.
That's right.
who are not. And then you look once again going back to the small business deal that they made in Congress. Nancy Pelosi extended the House of Representatives vacation for another week, or was it another 2 weeks? I can't remember. And Dick Durbin came out and they asked him, well, why don't you think you should be in Congress? And he said, well, we'll come back if there's an emergency that comes up. So we were told yesterday by Nancy Pelosi and Dick Durbin and Schumer and Nancy, Lindsey Graham and all these other rotten monsters in D.C. that this is an emergency. But now they're not going to come to work until an emergency pops up. Why? Explain to me, Mr. Durbin, how this isn't an emergency now.
I really don't believe that they had the courage to do that either, because now Trump can appoint people without them saying shit.
You know, Vanessa Kitty says, what's that? So being immune compromised, we should take a hit to ourselves because others are sick walking around. If you don't feel comfortable going back to work or going out, then don't go. Stay home. Have your stuff delivered. Order stuff online. By all means, do it. But why should the masses suffer for the few?
Well, at some point, and I'm not saying this is the point or not, but at some point, I mean, people are going to have to look at this in a way kind of similar to smoking or something. A lot of people are against smoking. A lot of people would rather not be in a restaurant where people smoke, things like that. But yet it's not a crime to walk down the street and smoke a cigarette yourself if you wanted to in 99% of places. So,
yeah.
There's a line between people's freedoms and, rights, liberties that, it can get kind of gray on what we should do for the good of everybody. But if we're going to follow that line, then, let's get rid of sugar, let's get rid of tobacco, let's get rid of alcohol. You know what I mean? Where does it end? So there's a fine line there where, there's going to be some risk to keep your freedoms. And I would like to think, people can kind of look at that objectively and everybody's gonna probably fall at a different place, but at least you can understand my point, I guess.
Yeah.
One thing that you have to be aware of when you're having a conversation with somebody is when to continue and when to not. At the beginning of this, I said, question this stuff, be cautious, be safe, but don't panic, and don't buy 5,000 rolls of toilet paper. And people ask me, what happens when my mother gets sick? When they start pulling stuff like that out as their argument, they have no more argument. The conversation is over, so stop having it. If somebody comes up to you, Rick, while you're standing at the mailbox without a mask on and said, don't you care if your mother dies? Don't engage in that conversation, because it's not worth having, because they have nothing else to say. That's the equivalent of, you're racist, you're sexist. When somebody calls you racist and you're not, don't argue with them, because they have nothing else to go on.
Oh man, I'd love to get into that your mother thing with somebody, because I would answer them saying, well, no, I don't give a shit if she dies, because I'm the one that unplugged her ass, so she would.
Cold-blooded.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Get your ass shot around here.
It's true.
Yeah.
I did have to make the decision to take her off of life support.
Now,
I wouldn't go around telling people that, man.
I'll make the caveat. If I said some outrageous stuff like, I don't care if my mother gets sick, blah, 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 then hold me to that. But if I'm having a rational conversation with you and you have to throw out, don't you care if your mother dies? You've lost.
Yeah. Now, you're right. I mean, I'm reading the chat, and I'm reading the chat window here. I understand what Vanessa's saying. We shut down the country because the spread of the virus gets too much for the hospitals to attend with. There was a few hospitals that got overloaded. They spread them out. Trump built a 2,000 bed hospital in that center, sent the boat there, and they didn't goddamn use them. There was a rush for a few days, but after that, they managed to cope with it all. So I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. Sorry. You know?
I really ain't buying the shortage of PPE either because
No,
I
I'm
ordered
not lying.
masks online and they came to me within like 10 days.
2 days, no, 1 day after Attorney General Barr came out and said that they were going to use the full force of the federal government to prosecute anybody hoarding PPE. 39 million masks showed up at, I think it was an Oregon college or some college hospital.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Come on now.
I can state I ordered from a distributor that I normally order for construction materials, things like that. A little bit before all this happened, and I've called several weeks. It was supposed to be in that following Thursday. They had it in a warehouse, and then basically, and make a long story short, I was basically told that they were basically seized from the warehouse and don't expect to get them anytime soon. So even though the order is already through, it's already done, confirmed, put to my account, I'm not going to get them. So I don't know. Now, granted, that might not be everywhere, but from what I can tell, it seems like there is a shortage, at least on the commercial side in my area.
Yeah.
That's all I can't justify for what or for who or whatever, but I know there's a few jobs I'm not doing. Well, I could do them, but I'd hate to dirty my respirator filters because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get replacements for those now. So it's like, it's not really worth it. And I'm not going to toast a set of filters for a 2-hour job somewhere or something.
And real quick, I don't recall hearing anybody say that don't worry about this. Don't take it seriously. This is all fake. There's no such thing. Who cares if somebody gets sick or dies? And if anybody knows, anybody out there that said, I don't care if somebody gets sick and dies, let them die in a cruel and heartless way, not a calculated, evaluated risk, quote unquote, way, but just a heartless, rude way, tell us who they are. And then that way we cannot talk to them people anymore. Because I wouldn't want to. If somebody.
Dude, that's Tony.
Well, I mean,
that's Tony. Tony's like, let's get this shit done so I can go to lunch.
I didn't want to go to lunch. Rick wants to go to breakfast.
I want to go to lunch. And as I said, let's go for it. I'm not saying it hard. I mean, it's terrible that one person died. It is. It's tragic. But it goes back to my statement that started an argument off here in the chat, or not an argument, a lively discussion, right? Why should the masses suffer for the few?
Everybody meet at Deb's.
That's all I'm saying. It's just that I think more people recover from this. So
I see you. I was gonna say, I see what you're saying, Rick, and I think that falls back to like the smoking or something like that, where people got to take a little bit upon themselves in a sense. But I think when you're a government or people that have a lot of attorneys that everybody's looking at, there's that fine line of, did we do enough? Did we not do enough? If we open things up, like this beach in Florida, is everybody going to get sick and then they want to sue the state? And then the state going to take that towards the president? There's so much legal crap that people are scared of everything nowadays. So, it's a catch-22 no matter what you do. So, I mean, I'm not trying to justify anything for the government, but you got to keep that in mind,
As Two Gun Kitties says, people die every day. We don't shut the highways down for car deaths.
Well, what I have said about this whole thing all along.
They don't shut the country down for the flu epidemic that comes every year.
The only way this ends is either everybody gets the antibodies for it or we get a vaccine. So open it up and let it go.
The vaccine is not going to come until
I personally trust nature more than
late
rush
this year
vaccine.
or early next year. The vaccine ain't going to be, because this country, I don't know if it's good or bad, right? The way that we test things here to make sure there's no side effects that are going to kill us. But then you read the side effects on every goddamn medication. It tell you it could cause death. So, you know. But as I said this on Wednesday, this country is overcautious. I mean, that's why we can't drink the water over in Europe, because we're so immune, because our system is so, it can't take it anymore, because I'm not saying being healthy is wrong, but I think we're being too much on that. And that's why we can't drink the water when you go overseas. You know?
Shit, I can't drink the water here.
Yeah, Rich White. We all bitch that the government needs to stay out of people's lives. Now we got the human malware pandemic, and everyone who said the former wants the government telling me what to do. Just stop, you know. I said, open it up and go for it. You know, that's, you know, as I said, I believe 90% of people will recover with it.
Probably 96.
I reckon 60 or 70% of them won't even know they have it. You know?
I don't think the death toll on this stuff is 4%.
And let's be honest, not one of us, not even a newborn today, is getting out of this life. You know, we all die. Everybody dies eventually.
That's my freaking line, goddammit.
I know, that's where I stole it from. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's my feelings on it anyway. I see Patriot in the Dark was in the chat. I don't know if he's still there. Why he's not in the room? More than likely, is he babysitting again? He's throwing out. I've got my daughter's hair card. I see. You know. So, if your daughter's not behaving, lock her in a room until she does.
Just so everybody knows, is I did my part for the stimulus. I have supported the gun industry fully.
Yes, you did. I don't know if they did. I don't know if Tony bought a Smith & Wesson 29 model, the newer one. What is that? Classic 29 is that what they call it?
No, it's not a classic. It's a regular 29.
Oh, okay.
It's new, but it's probably 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, all right. Okay. So, and he bought reloading supplies. As I said on Wednesday, I haven't changed my mind on what gun I want to buy, but I haven't, firmed it up. I said I'm going to pay. I got to pay some stuff. The only thing that's firm on my list is reloading supplies.
Now, I really need to bring out the whole story on the damn 29 anyway.
Yeah, you do.
I put it on layaway at the gun shop in early 2016, and I forgot about it. And I thought, well, if it's still there, I'm going to pay for it. So I walked in there, and they said, yep, it's still here. We knew you'd come back. I paid for the damn thing.
So there you go, people.
They got to find it. They couldn't find it, but it's there.
They more like sold it.
I don't care. I'll get my money back then.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is I have guns, so I'm not, to me, I mean, I'm sure you do too, but that I have, I know I have control. It's there. What I don't have is a good outlook on the current future. Whether there's going to be price hikes and all this, which they already stated that there's going to be. The grocery stores and whatnot are going to, start to increase prices after like 60 or 90 days. The White House would ask them to hold off. But basically, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. So for me, Our household's holding on to any money like that's acquired. But,
Yeah,
I'd much rather be prepared for what we may have to deal with versus what we should deal with. So I don't know. I mean, there's no such thing as extra. Milk goes up to $10 a gallon for some crazy reason or something like that. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to have to reevaluate things. I personally think people should be downsizing their expenses at this point, because even if things do kick off, it's going to take a while, and interest adds up. A lot of places are letting you slide on your payment, but they're not letting you slide on the interest. And so when you do the math on that, that turns the average place into a payday loan place that you're just not going to make it. So just be smart is all I'm saying. People, be smart. You can't have too much money.
I wouldn't have done that stuff if I hadn't already had all my bills covered. And I did put half of
there you go. Treat yourself, I guess. Still have extra.
And I still have half of the thing in a savings account.
I think cash on hand is better than a bank. Just never know. So, people, there was a run here on the banks for a while, and they started limiting how much cash people can get and stuff. So,
shit, man, I got $12
within your control means a big difference.
I got $12 in my wallet and $8 in my change bank, so I'm good. I don't use cash.
Let's hope so.
The only thing I use cash for is the car wash.
All right. So we're somebody in the chat now is talking about John Wick. I haven't watched the third one yet because I don't know. Is it on free? Is it free yet on TV, or do you have to go on demand and pay for it? So
I actually bought the Deadwood movie.
Any good? Oh yeah, we're talking about it today.
I don't have it yet. I don't get it until Monday.
No, if you're lucky.
I was looking to see if it was available on something you can watch online or something. Even if I had to pay for it, I would have. And then I found the DVD for $9. I'm like, well, I'll take that.
Patriot in the Dark says, so New York Outcast took over the hashtag grumpy panel spot. Yeah. All right. Real quick. We're going to keep going, but I want 4 people to drop out because the quiz for last week, I had 4 entries. That's it. And I thought it was an easy question, and the question was, what is the oldest gun in the world? And I don't know how to pronounce it. It's the Heligon John hand cannon. It is a Chinese. It was dug up in China. So I don't know if I pronounced it right, but that's what the answer was. And 4 people entered. So that means there's 25% chance of winning. So let me hit my little button here and see who it is. New York Outcast. You're the winner.
Whoa. Awesome. That's
all
cool.
Right. Just send me your mailing address.
I almost got in trouble for that one.
Send me your mailing address and we'll get it taken care of.
All righty. Cool. Yeah, almost got in trouble for that one. I had to look it up, and when I looked it up, I jotted down the name of it. I can't think of how to pronounce it either. And I just left it on the table. And later, my lady was like, "Why does it look like this? Why does this look like a porn site or something?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the first handgun." She was like, "Oh, like okay," like kind of gave me like a weird look over it. So, because I didn't write the hand cannon, I just wrote the hand John something part. So
yeah. Well, anyway,
that's just a weird side story.
Send me your info, and I'll get my swag bag out to you. Oh, is unknown user in the chat today? Because that lady he promised to give his price to, she never sent me her mailing address yet. So you want me to send it to you or what? So I need unknown user to let me know. Now, the question for this week for a swag pack. And it's, it's a big swag pack too. So also I want to say thank you to Clover Tech. I won a prize on his show or on his Patreon thing. I've been a Patreon of his forever. And I won a swag pack. Just want to say thank you for that. All right. This week's question. Mail in only now, guys. What? Okay, here we go. Now, the guy who was called the fastest gun who ever lived was Bob Munden. That's what the Guinness Book of Records said. But he was asked a question, and he was asked a question, who is the fastest gun drawer in the movies? He named 4 of them. I want all 4 of the movies.
Just a hint for all you out there, one of them ain't me.
I'm reading this here. He told the crowd about the 4 fastest gun drawers in the movies. And I want to know all 4. So, there you go. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. So, there we go. Betty Page. She was the one who he was giving it to, wasn't she? I need your mailing address so I can send that package to you that unknown user said you could have. So, okay. Carry on. What do we want to talk about now? We sorted out the coronavirus. We're all going back. The world's opening back up.
My world never closed.
My world really hasn't either, except for Deb's truck stop. But I must admit, last time I was at Walmart, which was at the beginning of the month, because my check it worked out great. It worked out great this month because the first was on a Wednesday, and I always get my check the first Friday after the first Wednesday. So I got it early. So I got it on the 3rd. See, now like this month, right? The first isn't until Friday. So the first Wednesday is the 6th of May. So I won't get my check until the 8th. See, sometimes I get fucked. Excuse my language. So
for God's sake.
But no. What I'm saying, I'm just explaining it. What I'm saying is, so when I was at, what was it? So when I was there, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I got in no problem. But when I came out, there was a line outside Walmart where they were restricting to how many people could go in at a time. So like if, 3 people walked out the door, they let 3 people in. That's what they were doing when I went.
I'll tell you what, this damn stimulus thing coming last Wednesday, our Aldi store and Walmart both were friggin' packed. They had people standing outside in groups waiting. They had the cops at the Aldi store. I don't know what the hell was going on there. Maybe just a convention and swapping donuts or some shit like that because it wasn't flashing lights. But I was going to go in and get some potatoes and carrots and stuff, not a lot of stuff. I'm like, fuck, I ain't going into there.
Yes, I apologize, G-Webs. I went from, PG up to R or further on my language here. So I do apologize.
That's my fault.
So.
I was told that, sorry, Rick, go ahead. I was just stating, I was told that our local Aldi's, they have limits down to the point where you can only get 4 cans of peas or corn or whatever, where typically people would go in and buy a case.
Well,
I
that
don't know if they had that in your area too, because prior
yeah,
to that, I saw limitations on, bleach, toilet paper, what's become normal, expected with what's going on. But
yeah. See,
it's the first time I've heard of actual
paper
canned
goods.
items where you can only have 4 cans of spaghetti
Well,
sauce.
that's because of what you just said. People are going in there and buying it by the case.
Yeah, well, people
I
do that normally. I mean,
like the meat plants closing down. It's only, from what I can figure out, 5 to 7% of the total output in this country. So there's not. So on that figures, there's not a panic. But like the toilet paper, all the sheep are running out there. As soon as they put out 10 packets of ground beef, they all fight for it, and somebody grabs 5 of them when he really only needs one. And that's what's developing this problem is people are still going. It's become a dog eat dog world out there right now.
I guess so. But I mean, at this, like all these stores, it's not uncommon to see somebody grab a case of this or a case of that. Like it seemed like people would go shopping for the month when they were there, and that's why they shop there, because they could afford everything. I guess on a month's income or something. So in a store like that, it was typical to see people, the average person, grab a case of this or a case of that. So to me, in a store like that, it would just seem more shocking that you were limited down to like 4 cans of an item. So I was just curious if people noticed that in their other stores as well. Or,
as I said, it's a 15-mile drive through country road, so it takes maybe 25 minutes to get to the first grocery store. It takes about 30 minutes to get to the Walmart because it's on the outskirts of town, but on the other side. So I have to drive through town to get to it. But I go to my local Family Dollar more than anywhere else because it has a good grocery section, and I pick up whatever I need. Unfortunately, it doesn't have produce or meat in it. That's the only bad thing. But what you call it though? They have signs up. You can only buy 2 loaves of bread. You can only buy 2 containers of milk. If you buy a gallon, you can only buy 2 gallons. If you buy just the quart size or whatever it is, you can only buy 2 of those, which I think is kind of unfair. But anyway, and you can only buy two packs of toilet paper.
Yeah, I think that's
I haven't
kind of limiting in some cases. There was a time in my household, where I had, the house was full of kids in a sense where, we'd buy on average 20 boxes of cereal a month. As far as like canned goods or mixed vegetables, everybody complained about vegetables, so we did a lot of mixed vegetables because everybody likes this one or doesn't like that one or whatever. So you can't please everybody. So the easiest way to do it is just mix and everybody deal with it. It's how we got away with it. So we'd buy a couple cases of the mixed vegetables and basically throw it out and put whatever you want on it. Everybody's eating a half a cup, just the way it is. But it wasn't that abnormal. So for a family like that now, I could see them being in bad shape or having to split people up, to go in the store, almost like people were doing with the ammo, where you go with a friend and you both go in to buy the 22s because you can only get 1 box, but you plan on going shooting this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, like me, I when I go to Walmart, I try to shop for a month. If I forgot something, that's why I run down to the Family Dollar. Meat-wise, produce is what I hurt on because I try to buy as much as I can, but it ain't going to last a month. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm bad on that. But like meat, I'll buy like the family pack of pork chops. Then when I get home, there's only me here. I'll sort of like put two pork chops in a Ziploc bag and throw them in the freezer. That's what I do. Like ground beef, I'll buy, one of those 5-pound packs and break it up into 5 individual pound sort of chunks and throw it in the freezer. That's what I do for the month.
As far as that question goes, here in the middle of nowhere, central Illinois, I haven't seen any of that with the exception of the first couple of weeks. They limited the amount of toilet paper you could buy when you got it, but that's even went away now.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Going off the grocery thing. Rich White's back onto the CDC. The CDC is a joke. They also think we have a health pandemic of gun violence. So I don't care what the CDC has to say on anything. Yeah, it makes you wonder. I mean, I take the CDC in the same thing as the World Health Organization. They're about as bad as each other, really. So, as Ohio 45 says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
CDC makes a lot of money with some of their stuff, and it seems to be kind of a closed circuit little thing. I don't really trust it. It's just
what
like
I don't
the information
understand
they put out. Everything's got to be clear to be put out.
Is the CDC government funded?
I'm sure that they get a check. Yes.
I would assume they get money, but I don't know if it's
because I thought they weren't allowed to do surveys on gun violence. I thought that was some sort of a law they passed years ago, but maybe I'm wrong. So
I think that's for government agencies,
that's why I was asking. Well, I mean, if the CDC, to me, if anybody accepts government money, right? Or accepts, if a thing accepts state money, then the state can say something. If they accept federal money, I think the government can say something about it.
Well,
so
Planned Parenthood.
Here's what I found on the CDC by doing a little bit of internet kung fu. So who knows if this is right? This is just the first thing that popped up. It says, as a private 501c3 public charity, the CDC Foundation receives charitable contributions and philanthropic grants from individuals, foundations, corporations, universities, NGOs, and other organizations to advance the work for the Center for Disease Control Prevention. CDC receives its funding from Congress through separate accounts that correspond approximately to CDC's centers, institutions, and offices. Their accounts are further subdivided into specific programs, projects, and activities. And the short way of saying that is they're collecting from all sides.
Okay. Oh, here you go. Gun website says, the Dickey Act says they can't do that. But Yoda, Texas says the CDC can do surveys, but not for the purpose to produce anti-gun propaganda. So, there you go. But it said they're a government agency. I think anybody. So, like right now during this national emergency, every state, because it was a national emergency, that means the federal government funnels money or goods to every state in the union. So theoretically, the federal government can tell the states what to do because they're taking money from us, i.e., they're taking our tax dollar. But am I way off base?
There is specifics about the separation of powers from the states to the federal government. And it limits the federal government quite a bit.
If you take my money, right? So say, if you started a business and you asked me for some money, right? I meant to give it to you, not say a word how you run your business. Nah, it ain't going to happen.
Do bankers tell you where you can drive your truck when you borrow money to buy it? No.
they tell you got to have full coverage on it in case you wreck it. You can't go out and just buy what's the other insurance I normally liability.
That's to protect the investment of the bank.
That's to protect their money that they gave you to buy.
Right. The dealership doesn't care if you have tags, if you have insurance.
Oh, I know that. Because you're not really buying it. I mean, if you're going there and you're getting a bank loan, it's actually the bank who's giving you the money for it. So they tell you what you have to do. You have to get insurance on it, which is you got to get full coverage. So same thing as the government giving you money. If the government gives you money, they have a say in it. If you ask for money, people have a say in what you do with it. They can make suggestions. I feel. But what do I?
Yeah,
I'm talking about donations. I'm not talking about if somebody drops you a couple of $100 to help you along or something like that. But if somebody's putting in big money, you know, I mean, if I bet they can have a say. They might not say, "I want you to do this." They might drop subtle hints of what you want to do. And if you don't do it, more than likely next time, if you need more money, you ain't going to get it from them.
I would agree to that, except for one exception, of course, the Clinton Foundation. Every single donation that's ever went to the Clinton Foundation was pure from the heart, and it did the world better than it was the day before. Completely legitimate and fine, upstanding foundation. Love the Clinton Foundation. Hillary's gorgeous.
Howard.
I had a kind of a weird question here. I may sound, I guess, foolish on my part or whatever, but at this point in time, now that it has been deemed an actual emergency in a sense, some people are stating that our branches of government aren't necessarily running our country anymore, and that basically FEMA took it over as part of an emergency act. Now, does that hold any weight to anything? Is that just straight crazy, or does anybody know?
I know national disaster FEMA is the in the end calls the shots. Really,
it seems like between Congress, again, this is from what I've heard, which has no credit or nothing, that Donald Trump tried to send Congress home, dismiss them or whatever, which obviously that's a separation, should be a separation between the branches as well. So I'm just curious, is there somebody behind the curtain legally pulling shots here and we're all just watching a bunch of puppets, or is that just nonsense? I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen any FEMA evidence here, but then again, this area is not hugely affected right where I'm at.
I don't know.
If FEMA going to New York, all stuff from the federal government comes down. If a government agency, who's ever in charge of FEMA in your state is the authoritative person, basically, from the way I understand it.
So if an emergency is deemed, like which there is in New York, then technically FEMA is running things and not the governor, not the president.
Correct.
Well, obviously it wouldn't fall directly to the governor. Okay.
But they work close together. The governor and the FEMA work close together. I mean, as the president said, right? If the governor wants to be an ass, he can slow up the funds, or he can pull FEMA out. But
it's strange because every day, every weekday, Cuomo does a state meeting where he updates the public and this and that. I believe a lot of it's for FaceTime for other political purposes, but that's regardless. But every day you hear from him, and they put a briefing out from the White House, but I don't recall hearing like FEMA's representation. If they're the one that's actually running the state, I'd kind of like to hear what they got to say personally.
Well, I think you should bring it up to your governor. Say, Governor Cuomo, let's hear from FEMA up here on your platform.
I don't think FEMA's running the state. I think the governors have the power, and FEMA's at their at their disposal.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're not going to put FEMA in charge of it. I mean, you can even go back to
Well,
Ray Nagin, who told everybody in Louisiana, "Let's go out and party and have a good time because this is false." And FEMA was like, "Y'all are about to die and be 10 feet underwater," and they were like, "No." And then 2 days later, half of them were dead and they were 10 feet underwater. The mayor or the governors still have control over the states. Now, FEMA doesn't come in and take control. Now, I mean, if this was an invasion, the Chinese invaded our shores, that might be a different story when it comes to governments, federal government taking control of states. But this situation, Cuomo's still in charge of New
yeah, but
York.
what happens if Cuomo says, Cuomo says, I'm going to build a dam across the river. And FEMA says, hell, you're not. Not with the government money, you ain't doing it.
Well,
So they've got a little say.
I think it would be great if.
Go ahead, Rob.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think it would be great if anybody out there does know, I don't know if this is a G-Webs thing or whatever, whoever it is, but, kind of pointing the light on that power structure would probably be helpful. Because, like I said, I've been hearing two different things, and so I don't know what, as usual, you don't know what to believe, but if things are being ran by a separate division or whatever you'd like to call it, I think it would be good to be known, and obviously have a representation from the proper source, not a spokesperson. Not saying it is or isn't, but whatever the case is, it would be good to know, what it's supposed to be. I guess I don't know.
No, I don't know on that one. I have to research it. So like setting up making sure they got enough personal protection stuff, make sure they had enough ventilators and all that. FEMA was the one that actually moved it around. You know what I'm saying? The government says we're going to send you. The president said we're going to send you 7,000 ventilators. It's actually FEMA who's grabbing them and moving them to where they need to go. I think that's how.
I know. In my state, Cuomo sent National Guard out to retrieve ventilators and equipment from hospitals. So,
and
I don't know. They was
engineers. Basically, they just need somebody they can trust to drive the trucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if FEMA had some tie with that or what, but like I say, they didn't.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't FEMA trucks; it was National Guard going to get them here.
G-Webs is correct. There will be no meat cut of the week due to the national meat shortage this week. So I'll just throw that
this
out.
Goes into tofu cuts, and this show's gone downhill.
Yeah, there's no cut of the week because of the meat shortage.
You can do your vegetable of the week.
Do what?
You could do your vegetable of the week and give G-Webs a treat. He's more into the vegetarian lifestyle.
Oh yeah. Actually, we had this discussion in the chat the other day over Brussels sprouts.
Maybe you could pick something else.
I love Brussels sprouts. This is where my English person comes out in me. But I don't understand why Americans have to smother them in butter. That's disgusting. Just boil salt, and when they come out, put some salt and pepper on them, and you're good to go.
A real American batter dips them damn things and deep fries them.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's mandatory to have a huge American flag flying above.
Yeah. Yeah.
Butter, some
So,
chopped garlic.
you grow Brussels sprouts in your yard, Tony?
I don't know if she's going to put them out or not. If we got
Yeah.
seeds, probably, because we both like them.
I know but you don't harvest them or pick them until after the first frost.
Well, great. That'd give me something to do after every rest of the things died off.
That's right. So, see, G-Webs agrees with me. Salt and pepper, that's all you need on a Brussels sprout. That's it. So, there you go. G-Webs has spoken. What more do you need?
Fortunately, in this free country, you're welcome to salt and pepper, whatever the heck you like, and I'll batter dip it and deep fry it. Then dip it in cheese.
Yeah.
I'm going with the butter, chopped garlic, nice sear if possible.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys eat some weird food, I tell you. So, God knows
In Texas, they'll deep fry butter.
Dinner tonight. I have no idea.
This coming from the guy who's got an email named Spotted Dick.
Yeah.
Right? How long have you lived here?
That's hey, that's a good British name. Good British dessert. Bread pudding with raisins.
You know that in Texas, they'll deep fry butter.
I know, but yeah, you're talking Texas now, aren't you? You know what? I mean, there's nothing else to say.
I bet you the British didn't have a 10-foot tall statue carved out of butter of Alan Jackson.
Oh. So, all right. So, anything else we want to talk about while we're here? No.
It's going on to barbecue season.
There's going to be a hot dog shortage this year? Yeah. Are we going to have the debate again this summer? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yeah. So
I'm having
That's a
chili
crazy
dog
one.
for supper.
What do you guys think about this whole exit strategy term? Some of you may have seen this recently, but you think our government should be kind of laying something out to us by now? Should be giving us some expectations? I mean, I know some areas they have come out saying they're going to lift things and release things, but
no, it's up to
things
the governor.
progress, or do you think they don't know what they're going to do?
The governors cried that the president was taking liberties, that he's not in charge, we are. So he said, go for it. We're giving you some guidelines to go by. It's up to you when you want to do it. Unfortunately, I think you are going to be the last state to be set free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you think that's going to go abroad with businesses stating,
Hey.
go for it, just start up?
The Ohio governor says he's not reopening until they get a vaccine. I feel sorry for you guys. Your state is going to be bankrupt, broke. There are going to be riots. There's going to be gunfights in the street.
Did anybody expect the government to have an exit strategy? I don't think the term exit strategy is allowed in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, they didn't have one for the war, did they?
Yeah, I think they just kind of go with what they can. They do what they can get away with, or don't do whatever. So I don't know. I'm just curious. So I mean, it is when people are, I guess in some cases, panicked or worried, concerned, it is helpful to have an idea of what to expect.
Did you see those tweets yesterday where he hashtagged those? What was it? Michigan, Florida, and what was the other state being repressed? You need to fight back or whatever. I thought it was funny myself. Anyway, they said he's causing Trump's causing trouble by doing that.
Oh no, I didn't know anything about any tweets.
Let's see if I can.
No, I was just curious if you guys thought it would be helpful if there was some type of general guidelines, I guess, better understanding, like for businesses and things like that. Especially like Kingpin was saying, with these smaller loans or the smaller businesses. I've heard a few people complain about, not being able to get it, or it's not going through well. Where you would think they would, and it wouldn't be much of a question, but yet they're still stuck. So, yeah, on the financial aspect, I think it would be helpful personally if they did come up with something. I mean, would you guys agree, disagree? I mean, I don't think they're gonna, draw out a blueprint for dealing with something that we haven't dealt with, but in the same sense, it seems they'd be more helpful, or somebody'd be looking into
Uh, I can't find the link now to that story where I read him, but he was gun ho in a couple of Virginia was the other one being repressed by the Second Amendment or something. He said, "Oh, G Webs wanted to know: do you, after this is all over, or when things get back to normal, do you think people will rethink living in the big cities? Will they start moving out to the suburbs and beyond?"
I think a small portion
No.
will, but I think it'll just be a small portion, more so than what we previously had, where people would think that way, but not what would be, in my opinion, common sense.
City
So,
people
yeah,
are city
I
people.
think
They
some
ain't gonna
people
change.
just, I don't know. It's easier just to, people don't like change, you know what I mean? So some people will degrade themselves to keep things the same. So,
Yeah, but I don't think so, because look at small towns. A lot of small towns are dying because all the stores are closing in the center of town and stuff like that. So, people want to move to the big cities where it's all happening, where things are going 24 hours a day. They think they're missing something if they're not there.
I think that, like Rob was saying, and like G Web mentioned, the people who can will move out into the counties, or, the little bit more rural or suburban areas. But the pizza shop on Broadway is not going to close. And the guy who makes pizzas from, noon to midnight isn't going to drive, out to, you know, uh, 2 hours away to go and then back into the city every single day to make pizza. So he's going to live in the city. I don't think a whole lot of it's going to change. Just the people who can afford to might move out and travel back and forth into the city.
Yeah, but I think that's why a lot of people. I think that's why cities got big, is because people didn't want to commute. They wanted to be right there where they're working. I don't know. I really don't know. Hey, Squib, how come you're not in the panel here? He's in the chat. So, go on.
I can see the draw to city people who've always lived in the city. I guess it's just a normalcy to them in a sense. But I can tell you, my cousin grew up in Manhattan, and there's a night and day difference between us, as far as even just, as kids climbing a rock in Central Park. She didn't stand a chance. It has nothing to do with being a boy or girl. It's just the fact that her life, basically, she grew up in a building. That's normal to her, going out hiking and stuff. There's no street lights. She ain't trying to go out there. It don't matter if I'm, armed or whatever. She ain't trying to go out there. You know what I mean? So, and certain people just kind of become like that. So I think, as soon as the dirt road showed up somewhere, a lot of people start thinking twice when it comes to city people, which is odd. Same thing with motorcycles. Like, they will, they're the biggest badass guy out there. As soon as you roll over to a parking spot with dirt, y'all know he ain't touching that. Like, scared to death he's gonna fall. Dump it, you know what I mean? Like there's just stuff that it's not really a practical fear, but that's just exactly how they see it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know really how to explain it, but some people get really sketchy about things when you've been, I don't know, like institutionalized, but lived in a city for so long.
I couldn't live. I mean, I lived in towns. I've never lived. I mean, the thought of actually living somewhere like actually in the heart of London or in the heart of New York City doesn't appeal to me. Living in a town is okay, but the only thing I complain about here is the drive I got to do to go to to do my main shopping. But I love being out here where it's the only thing I hear is the church bells going. And then when I'm driving, I see cows and corn. I think it's great. I love it. But could I survive if shit hit the fan? I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a townie when it comes to that. I think I could. I mean, I know how. I mean, if I shot a deer, I know how to cut it up. Squibload's in the chat. I want to ask him a question real quick. Since you can't buy seeds, you won't be able to do any garden videos this year. That's a shame. Go on.
I was just going to say, if Squib needs any seeds, I was able to buy them at Lowe's yesterday. So give me a list and I can, unless it's a federal crime to mail them to you from New York, but I could help you out.
Knowing his governor, it's more like illegal to ship them into Michigan.
Yeah, they'll treat it like explosives or something.
Yeah.
She's going to personally inspect every piece of mail that comes into her state.
Yeah. See, now I can understand the protests of like that state because it's gone overboard, I feel. Because, I mean, I really do. I mean, here, from what I can see, yes, they want you to stay at home, but when you go shopping, you can buy most things. I think you can buy anything. The only reason I would say that they might stop you buying something is, I'm like, whoa, there's nobody running that department. But hell, nobody running this department in Walmart, it doesn't seem. When you want to find somebody, there's nobody around, So I don't know.
I'm wondering if they're not on the take or off the take in certain states and different places, because it starts to seem like you can only spend your money in certain places, buy certain products, and now people can't make money. We're going to give you money, but you can only go spend it in certain places, certain products, or you can shop at a few places online. So it's like all the owners of these products and places are making out like bandits with the government and everybody supporting it. So I'd really love to see, down the line, people follow the money on this, because I don't know.
Things can get seeds.
Things just don't seem right.
Paint. Yeah, Squib said he can get seeds, but he can't get paint. So if you can get seeds, we can see his garden videos this year. So that's good. Anyway, who did we lose? Oh, Tony dropped out on us, did he? All right. No problem. I'm about ready to run it. Hang on, I lost my chat. There we go. I'm about ready to wind this one up anyway. The cats are starting to circle. They're getting hungry. I think they're getting bored too. I think they're getting bored because sometimes, before I said I don't do a lot, but I would. Why I haven't done it, I don't know. Because why I don't go down to gun range, I don't know. I think I'm allowed to, here, but I just haven't gone. So I think my cats are not used to. are not used to me being home so much because normally I used to, if I went out, I would go out, I would stay out for 2 or 3 hours, you know. So anyway, let's wind this up. You got any shots or plugs, New York?
No, just thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody taking the time to spend it with us. So have a good day, people, and be safe.
All right. Kingpin, any shouts or plugs?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always good hanging out with everybody. Thanks for everybody that showed up in the chat. And check out G23, 6 p.m. Eastern. He'll have an open lobby chat.
Well, there you go. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for showing up. I really do appreciate you being here on a Saturday afternoon, you know. So I just want to say thank you. And I will be back on Wednesday with Shooting with Disabilities at 7 p.m. So I will see you. If I don't see you all before, I will see you then. So good afternoon, good evening to everybody. So let's hit the end stream button.